Hello and welcome to Bloomberg TV India, and I have with me Defence Minister Manohar Parrikar, someone who the whole country knows is putting in many hours for the defence sector. Thank you very much, Mr. Parrikar, for talking with us once again. Earlier, just a few hours back today, you spoke about Make in India at great length. And my first question to you, sir, is in terms of the assessment of the Make in India program as far as concrete achievements are concerned, where does that program stand today? What is the level of activity that you have witnessed as far as that program is concerned?
See, Make in India program is not an you do something. It's not a Newton's first law. Every action has its reaction. It takes some time for such programs with gestation period to show its effect. What we are doing today, what we are acquiring are the legacy past. What was done some 5 years back, 10 years, even 10 years back is being concluded today because we realize that they are in pipeline. Unless I get this out of the pipeline, either you accept it or throw it out if you don't need it. But you have to clear the road for the next lot to come. Make in India is like that. Unless you get the existing various deals or requirements out of the pipeline, you will not be able to get the flow of Make in India. We are preparing the ground for it. I think ground preparation is quite good. The best part of any exercise is first declare your intentions, declare it repeatedly so that it becomes your commitment, make everyone think in the same tune. It is what is mindset which is important. Mindset of every individual involved in the process has to be same. I think that time is coming, and meanwhile align your policies, procedures in that angle. These are in activity. Next 1 or 2 months, I think some of the actions have been taken. Some of the actions are in pipeline in next 2-3 weeks. Some may take another 4 to 6 weeks, but maybe around 6 to 8 weeks more, you will have most of the procedural and policy decision in place. Now that will result into a flow which is going to come. You will have to wait for some time for the flow because it does take some time for activity which is started today to show results.
Absolutely, sir. And what I wanted to ask you as a follow-up was the other bit about Make in India. That also coincided with a decision by this government to allow greater FDI. Not too much FDI has come in. It is early days. I'm not saying that everything should have happened within 2-3 quarters. But from your conversations with a whole lot of defense makers, including, for instance, Boeing, who has just spoken some 24 hours back about setting up some sort of assembly or a plant in India. When it comes to FDI, are you satisfied with the progress of investments, or do you think it is still work in progress, sir?
It is definitely work in progress. In fact, very small component is seen. I'll put it in this way. When you are dealing with the Make in India process, you will be either make or Make in India. The make, of course, is indigenously developed. Defense product requires 3-4 years of gestation for development. They are specific product for a specific need. So the Make policy will ensure that Indian companies get a boost for import substitute or futuristic requirement of the armed forces for development. Meanwhile, you can't go on reinventing wheels. So proposals where technology is already available and is available for us on technology transfer, I don't think there is a need of doing research in that because that may take longer time, more money.
And that
but
will
if somebody is going to come here, like what Boeing spoke, and I'm not saying that Boeing is the only one, there are more companies which are ready for similar type of approach. We are preparing our ground rules for the same. In fact, there is a committee under Dr. Vasudeva Atre, which is going into the formalities, and yesterday I met him in Bangalore. He said by November end they should be able to give us the formulation. How do you select a strategic partner?
Is it not related to the Dhirendra Singh committee report?
It is. In Dhirendra Singh committee, he identified 6 areas. Maybe we will add 1 or 2 more, or I think around 1 or 2 more I'm thinking of, or bifurcating the platform he has given into 2. He identified 6 areas where he said that you can't have too many players in this field. It's totally true.
They'll be your strategic partner.
Like for example, submarine, you have Mazgaon dock making it. The second in private sector, how many you will have? 2, 3, 4. Why not have 6 partners and each one making 1 submarine? That's not possible, obviously.
You can't do
because submarine is a specialized technology. You have to develop people for that technology, and once you take the technology, you have to propagate it for future, for continuity. So you can have at the most 1 private sector coming into that. You select for that procedure. They said that you select through a transparent mechanism. That mechanism is being worked out by this committee, which has expert in finance, expert in banking, expert in chartered accountant, expert in technology, and many more. About
so how the contracts will be structured, how the strategic partnership
will be chosen.
Right.
Once you choose a strategic partner, then companies like Boeing or governments like American, French, British, anyone, Russian, whoever is ready to set up a unit in India or tie up with Indian company will come into picture.
I have to ask you this because, while you are undertaking such deep and strategic reform of this ministry, the institutions like the CAG will continue. Is there a possibility that you foresee or fear of this strategic partnership program becoming a point of controversy later on? Because, people will say, our belief is tenders,
No, I don't believe that defense can always be dealt through tendering process. And it's not new for defense. Government to government contracts have been concluded on many occasions right for last 30-40 years. By this, as long as your process is transparent and process is without any kickbacks or manipulations, I don't see any reason why process should be open just because it is a nomination type of thing. Mind you, here nomination doesn't happen because I want it or X want it or Y wants it.
It's a process.
Here there will be a process set up where nomination will be based on what they can deliver to us, to what quantum they can deliver to us, and how fast they can deliver to us. All these factors vis-a-vis what we require, how fast we require, and where we want to take the partnership forward. So there is a partnership with Russians which is government to government, where we are manufacturing Su-30. And I'm not going to detail. Anyone who wants to really tell me something about it should first examine what is how did the Su-30 partnership came into existence, and whether it has really gone through the transparency and cost auditing which we are talking about. So I will be talking about cost auditing about it. There will be audits. There are framework which will be created to ensure that transparency and benefit to the government remains.
In the past, and I remember the first interview you gave me soon after taking over, you had spoken about blacklisting. Now again, from my understanding, the Dhirendra Singh committee has not addressed that, but I am not privy.
It has. Because we had given them a pro forma draft. Achha. In fact, some people said that I have delayed it. I have delayed it because I was waiting for Dhirendra Singh committee's report.
Okay.
And it is part of that. If you see it carefully, it says that most of the issues...
I haven't seen it honestly.
No, most of the issues about blacklisting, what we had sent to him as an amended draft has been almost accepted by him. I have further got it redrafted in a nice format. It's very clean now, and I think in the next DSA I should be able to put it through.
let me turn to two connected aspects very quickly. One is about the percentage of FDI. I covered Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit. Our channel was there, and during some offline conversations, this point about the level of FDI in Indian defense equipment manufacturing also came up. Obviously, is this something that has been sort of put up officially to you, that you need to relook at the FDI cap? Is that anywhere possible, or is the level of
FDI cap is 49%. In specific case, it can be higher. There is a policy. So I don't think we have stopped any higher FDI cap, but it will be depending on the case-to-case basis. If you have got a cutting-edge technology coming to India, I don't mind giving 100% FDI, because it may not be only my need. There may be exports involved. So if a company is setting up a unit, even with 100% FDI, let us say, for example, of a product which while supplying to India is worldwide global requirement, why do I lose the opportunity of Indian employment, India economy boost to the, see, so there is a graded points given to various. Strategic requirement is the first. Topmost priority. Second, followed by economic boost, employment, skill development, technological spin-off. Now, if 100% FDI comes, then there is a total control on the technology of the foreigner. Maybe technological spin-off we won't get. But economical benefit you will definitely get, because they come to India and manufacture. So there are people who are working there. So skill improvement you definitely get. Employment you get.
You mentioned exports of around 1200 crore. Can you expand on how was that?
I just indicated that currently export is about maybe 120, last year it was 120 or something like that, $1 million. That means about 600, 700, maybe 800. We intend to double it in the next year, and according go forward like in the same multiples in future. We have reduced many of the export controls, including getting NOCs and all kinds of bottlenecks.
Okay. One of the key things that you've also been working around is the revamp of the DPP. Now already there was one timeline that you had indicated. I just want an update from you. What is the current timeline that you are working with?
We have no, the original timeline I said we will do the basic work by about in May, June. I realized that it requires a drastic modification, so we formed a committee when we went through it. The committee gave its report at the end of July. Now the department, service headquarters, all of them are going through it. August, September for last 2 months. As of now, some of the issues have been brought with comments, and they are in the process of being formulated. There is a team which is sitting there to write, modify, amend. You have to be very careful because it's a big document. But basic principle is that defense procurement procedure will be guided by defense policy concept. We are also trying to formulate a policy, but we have given a policy statement in the preamble of the procedure, and where we have made it very clear that this preamble is a solution to any difficulty faced in defense procedure. Procedure is not the sacrosanct. The preamble is a guideline to the procedure. If there are difficulties, please go back to the preamble, where we have mentioned very clearly Make in India is important. And as I told you earlier, Make in India, for example, probably after this government came, we have given clearance to about 1,70,000 crores worth of AONs. Almost 90%, something like 30-35% is totally Indian, if I am not mistaken. The rest is mostly make and buy Indian.
And those percentages are never seen before.
13-15% maybe buy global. So you will have a lot of manufacturing happening in this country in next 3-4 years. It can't happen today. We are also pushing a lot of output, like for example ships are being ensured that every 2 months one ship or a submarine comes out. If you see the tagline, though they have been delayed on the timeline, now we are ensuring the timeline that they come out. So one way we are executing the projects, but ultimately you have to also see the constraint of finances. As I explained, in MAP, for example, Married Accommodation Program, when I put the fellow on task and started taking monthly, I take many of the monthly, quarterly reports. I don't know whether people know about it, but I take reports on various, like I was in Bangalore for a program yesterday on Dr. Kalam's seminar by Aeronautical Society. After that, for 4 hours, I was taking briefing on LCA, HAL, BEL, BML, your BDL, all these companies' performance. I know Bahat today, and I was monitoring whether in 6 months they have managed what they have promised. Most of them have. In fact, if this continues in 2-3 years, some of them may, in today's situation, will not make that happen. May not have, not may be left with orders. They will execute all the orders. So there are other difficulties also. Financial requirement, funds availability also. Like that MAC project, when I put him on pinch, he started delivering at rate of more than 1,000 per month.
After you sort of tightened the screw.
He has done good, but he has also spent 80% of his budget in the first 6 months.
Okay.
So I have to make arrangement for additional budget to him.
A related question on the DPP, because now it is DPP 2015. I was reading somewhere that someone mentioned that orders are being executed or under process of execution under old DPP 2008, including I think the future infantry combat vehicle, the FICV.
Doesn't make much difference because FI information, request for information is only for request for information till.
So it will obviously be updated.
Doesn't make much difference.
Okay. I wanted to ask you about the Rafale deal because that is always, and I will ask you a very simple question. What is the latest update? Because
I think it is moving satisfactorily. Possibly they should be able to click it off, or what you call it, closure, come to a closure maybe by October or by Diwali at least.
Okay.
So we should have a deal in month of November. Because there is a process after that, it has to go to government, CCS, Prime Minister approval based on his statement, then CCS approval, and then the contract is signed. So all this process also needs to be taken care. I think November is a Diwali month, we can set up November as a target. Okay. You have to set target, and I have a habit of setting targets. Sometimes they are not met. But
at least they are being set.
Unless you set them, you cannot make efforts to reach them. Let me be very clear. Targets, if I make all targets perfect in time, then there are no targets at all. There is what you call as planning of achievements. You know that it will take so much.
Right.
You set something slightly tight than the normal.
Right.
Then you have a feeling of satisfaction when you achieve it. Sometimes you don't achieve it, you miss it by 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. Only in this DPP I missed it by probably 5-6 months because I didn't understand.
But then you pointed out that you are doing a very extensive.
I'm doing an extensive job.
So it will probably the entire industry.
And some of the issues have been tackled already. Some people don't know, like complaint issues have been tackled. Agents, blacklisting. We have tackled level playing field, foreign exchange.
Differential.
Foreign exchange protection. All those aspects have been tackled. Quite a few of the issues have been tackled. Some of them are in pipeline for this month end. Some may happen next month. But overall framework and the document should be ready by November end. Of course, it requires some time to get it vetted by
various.
December, sometime it will be published.
Wonderful. My last question to you before I let you go. Every year for many years, Mr. Parrikar, we saw, and I've lived in a cantonment in my childhood, and I've seen every year, even after college, that the defense budget was never spent. This year, I'm asking you, what do you feel about the allocation and how much will be spent? Will you be sending back any money back to Finance Ministry as unspent?
No, I don't think. I don't think we can afford to spend money back to the finance. But of course, internal some movement of some money from one to another might be taking place based on. You can't plan too much with too much extra spending. So you have to plan just 10% or 15% ahead of spending, and then allow some 10-15% slippage. In sometimes some slippages in some of the procurement may be more than other procurement. So we compensate each other, except that I don't think we will be able to return or not spend the money.
Okay, quick final word to many of the private sector companies who keep meeting you and talking about this defense opportunity. Today, what would you advise them in terms of the patience that they need to have as far as the defense plan is concerned?
I don't need to teach them patience. Many of them know what is happening. Many of them are aware that things are moving. The only patience is, see, if I push through very fast, which I can do, there will be a lot of friction in the governmental setup. I have been Chief Minister for 8 years, and I know one thing, that you have to carry the team with you. So the extra effort I am making is not, for example, even the DPP, I personally, if I sit on it with 1 or 2 people only, I could have finished it 2-3 months prior to this. But I wanted the full team to be moved with it. So if you want to move the team with it, then you require slightly more efforts. But once it starts moving, it's like a juggernaut. It can really give you output. I think I have been successful in doing quite a bit of movement of the team. There's an improvement in public sector defense PSUs, OFBs. You can get it. There's an improvement in the acquisition wing. There's improvement in various welfare measures. So every field there is some improvement. I could have concentrated in 1 or 2 or high profile field, but the morale of the forces also needs to be built up. So for example, I cannot leave an issue of 18 Dogra soldiers being ambushed. I have to concentrate in these issues also to ensure that their killing is paid for by those who did it.
Befitting replies.
So there are number of aspects. It's a very big organization, and I have to carry everyone, and I think I am able to do it. I am not calibrating myself. I don't like to do it. People have to do it. But the response I am getting is quite positive.
Thank you so much, Mr. Parrikar, and all the very best for your efforts.